Hey, Jeff.
Hey Ben, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hey Parth.
First,
Hey, Brennan.
Hello. Morning.
me and I said he'd be about 15 minutes late. So
Well, you guys all that do you guys stay through KubeCon or do you guys come back after? Okay, cool.
Bob and everyone were there too, right?
Sorry?
Bob was there also.
Yeah. I don't think he stayed all the way though.
He was there for KubeCon.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Yeah,
think he was in New York on Thursday. Maybe he just left a bit early.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we saw him on Wednesday, so maybe he left on Thursday or something, or maybe he left that night. Yeah.
Do we want to go through? Okay, I guess we can do the meeting intro and then like, do you wanna go through some PRs while you wait for Mihai, maybe, and to talk about like KubeCon and like feedback and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Okay. So I guess usual boilerplate. This means being recorded is being put on your favorite video streaming platform. On antitrust policies and core conduct for OpenSSF and LF apply. More information on the websites. Oh, Mihai's here. Perfect.
Hello.
Timing. Do we want to talk about KubeCon first? I think I had a few PRs that wanted to chat through, but I feel like KubeCon may be the more interesting topic for today.
Yeah, we can do both.
Okay.
Let's do KubeCon up first.
Awesome. So I wasn't there, but I heard a lot of great things happening. So can't wait to.
Yeah, I think the highlight was I think all three keynotes gave a shout out to GUAC, which is great. So one was from VMware Broadcom, and then Microsoft, I think, and then the other one was from Santiago and Justin got those.
Awesome. Yeah, can't wait to watch the video. I'm surprised at VMware Broadcom. Do you guys know about them using anything? It's just like came as a surprise.
All these shadow organizations are using stuff that you find out like, oh, I've been using it for a year. Like what? It's like how?
Did you guys manage to have a chat with them?
I think Mike did, but I don't know what happened or anything. I know he was annoyed that this might have been separate, but I think he was annoyed that they just wanted to like take things and not actually like do any of the work, because I think he was sitting at the cloud native, the SIG security booth, and I think someone came by from VMware. They're like, oh, we want this, this, and this. He's like, well, okay, then help out. And they're like, no, we don't have time. It's like so
Standard open
but
source.
yeah, so so he was all annoyed and ranting about that. I'm not sure if that was, no, I don't think that was related to GUAC or not. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I think this is something separate from other thing, some feeds or something like that.
Okay, so I guess when Mike's here, we'll figure out a little bit more about how VMware is actually using. What did they actually say during the keynote? Were you there?
No, I wasn't there either.
Okay. Yeah,
I have to rewatch it.
I
I
feel
think it was
you.
part of their architecture, I assume, but I think it was an architecture slide that they might have showed off, but I don't know. We'll have to take a look at that. When is that posted anyways, the keynotes? Like later?
I guess so. I think they all get posted at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll find out. Yeah, I mean, Microsoft we already knew, and then yeah, Justin and Santiago.
That's awesome.
What else? I think besides that,
You guys had the talk, right?
yeah, the talk went well. Yeah, I think there was a lot of interest in like getting that actually working, like getting all that stuff figured out. But
Who were the like main interested parties? Like, was it like people creating AI, people using AI, or like, do we know?
and people securing AI for one, right? That was that one company that was talking about it. I'm blanking on his name. I think I connected with him on LinkedIn. Okay, I think so did you, Mihai, right?
Yeah.
So mostly people securing AI and people in like security organizations. I got like pings on LinkedIn also, people asking like, hey, where's the recording of this presentation? I was like, it's not up yet. I was like, I'll let you know. But people were like in that security lead road, all that kind of stuff. So it's mostly from the security side. So not people generating it. I think it's more from, I mean, it could be. I'm not sure if the companies are generating it or not, but it's like, it seems like people are interested about it.
People from AdaLogic were interested in working with us next year to generate the provenance properly. But yeah, and the rest, everyone was on the user side. They wanted to have the provenance already there.
So do you know, Mihai, on the logic front, like, are they looking at a particular AI system or looking at more like an observer that's trying to do it?
They just want to make sure. So I was chatting with them that the provenance is, we had to basically hack it to make it work, to make it complete. And they were saying that they are looking into collaborating on that, on making the provenance be able to generate the provenance completely from the training part. So we had like on the one of the slides, we were saying that we want to generate salsa provenance for ML directly as you train on Collab. and they said that they might want to work on that too.
So this is kind of mainly looking at it from a training like notebook type
Yes.
flow.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that what you call it? Notebook flows? Like what are those flows called? Or just
Jupyter Notebook is the public one. Google has the Collab, but in the end, it's the same.
okay, cool. That's awesome. Any interesting feedback from? Do you guys meet with any of the red hat?
Aqua Security wanted to integrate with Hub, Bex Hub that they were creating. I think Ben created an issue for that.
Was this ET?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he was on the Slack talking about it. Actually, no, it was
The Hone
Obi.
Lucas.
No,
Oh,
yeah,
Tepe,
Lukash.
Tepe.
Tepe.
I think
Oh, I know Tepe. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So they were talking about a piece. Oh, and then Defense Unicorn also wanted to help out with air gapped. Like how to get GUAC air gapped.
In what sense? You want to run it on an air environment, or
Yeah. Yeah, so for like all these government contracts or military ones, it has to be air gapped.
are they currently using it, or are they currently integrating with it? Do we know?
I don't think so, but I think if something like this, if air gapped and all that kind of stuff, I think it would.
Okay.
Again, there was an issue created for that. Let's see. Yeah, Vex support and then air gap support. Here's the issue for that one.
Yeah, I think I want to kind of understand how they are using with what. This is your product, Zaf.
Is that open source? I think it's an OpenSSF project now. Sarf. I think I donated to the OpenSSF.
Oh, it's created by Defense Unicorn. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be curious to talk to them and see how they want to use it as well, right? Because I think we are planning on doing some of the re-architecturing, and so that may fall in line.
Yeah, so Brett Keller was the guy I chatted with. It might be worth like pinging them and having a conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's a separate meeting or kind of what, but or we can invite them to the maintainer call if they want to join.
Let me reply to this. Sure. Okay, I replied to the issue.
Yep. Awesome. What about the Vex support thing?
So I look at the issue. It looks like there's one from Aqua and there's one for Rancher.
Wait, what?
There's one from.
Oh, I see. I mean, the one from Aqua is the one.
Well, Rancher wants us to call into. Wait, I'm so confused. They use Tribute as well. Yeah, maybe let's get a demo from them.
Again, like maybe it might be worthwhile to bring them into the maintainer call. Like, hey, can you come to
Yeah.
the maintainer call? Or I'm not sure what their time zone they're in. You can just be like, you can set up a one-off meeting quickly.
I think
That's
they're in
worthwhile.
Europe. I
Yeah.
think Taipei is in Europe.
Yeah, you want to write that down? Just to be like,
Yeah,
hey, just come to the
yeah.
maintainer call. If not, we can coordinate something, but it might be.
Yeah, let me find Taipei's. You know what his GitHub ideas? Oh, I got it. Cool. I type in that one. It looks like Ben, you added another one which is different. Oh no, that's just a Prada. Never mind. Is Lucas also from Aquasac?
See.
I don't know where he's from.
Yeah. No idea. You check LinkedIn. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm checking that.
Cloud engineer. Oh, he says
Stack it.
stack it cloud.
Yeah.
He seems to be contributing to a lot of Aquasac repos. Okay. That looks like there are people then.
And
Let me also tag EJ here.
yeah, I think that was the main conversations.
Was there any interesting from a booth standpoint? Do you guys have any interesting conversations
From where?
from your the Kusari booth?
Oh, the booth.
Yeah, any interesting use cases that have come up, or pretty much same old?
No, there's most of the same.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing we don't already do, basically, I guess. Yeah.
Any feedback? All the usual feedback, like Grok.
There's a couple people asked about runtime, I think,
Oh, yes, that's true.
or even
Like-
like historical, like, when was this running at what point in time?
It's like that is deployed node that Microsoft has an issue on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one.
Do we know if they ever followed up on that? Like if they built something on their end to handle that?
I don't think so, based on, we were in the conversation. I mean, we were talking about with was it Alex and Ridwan? Alex and Ridwan. I think we were mostly working on the layer ID stuff, right? We didn't get to the is deployed. So and they didn't say anything. I mean, Alex was out there. I think Ridwan was also out there, but I didn't meet him. And we also saw Toddy, but I think they're doing some other. I mean, I think they were still getting SBOMs like generated in their environment, all that kind of stuff. So I think they were still prioritizing some of that things. But yeah, but runtime is something that, like, how do you manage it? How do you capture it in some way? But having all that information in one spot would be great.
Were they specific on like I think we talked about this a little bit before. I mean, but sorry.
Yeah, I brought up the issue like as we were talking. Some of these people was like, yeah, well, it can get out of date, right? Because now, how do you know that? How do you know that it's running? How do you keep it up to date at all times? All that kind of stuff. It gets very complicated.
Well, it also assumes that they have a pretty tight coupling between their CD and their runtime, right? Like it's like an engineer kind of just running a script, then there's no evidence that we can ingest. Then maybe I don't know whether like at that point it's better to have a component just scan the metadata in Kubernetes or whatever cloud runtime they're using.
Well, I think there should always be a strong coupling. Especially if you're an organization, you're not going to be running like, oh, a developer ran a script and I ran something in production. I don't think that should ever happen, right?
I think
there should be a flow. There should be a proper flow that, like, okay, yes, I'm running this now in production. It got promoted from dev or whatever. Like, usually that should be the case. I don't like if any respectable organization would probably be doing that. I don't think they're going to be running it by hand. So I don't think that should be an issue. And if it is, then they have bigger problems to deal with, right? Like that's not. So.
I am wondering whether we can help them identify that problem. I feel like my bet is like more people have that problem than they care to know or to admit. I wonder whether like maybe we had to show them like, oh, if you're gonna have your is deployed attestations and evidence coming in, now at least we give them a denominator of like, okay, here's everything you're running. Do you know where each of these things come from? And maybe the answer is no, or the answer is yes, and then I had to collect the metadata.
Yeah.
So in a sense, like I think for like within our organization, we have this thing called like ground truth, where we just like scan the repositories and then figure out like, we basically like cloud for all Google.com projects in GCP. We have a database that gets updated every day to say like these are all the things that these are all the configurations across like
Interesting.
Yeah, all
it scans. It scans GCP or it scans repo.
Scans GCP.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's only for like Google. Our project, right? I think it is a part of what the cloud team does for compliance.
Depending on how big and if you have permission, it is something you could do, right? Like, hey, have a separate agent that scans what's happening out there in the system and stores that in a separate database, but then correlates information when a query is asked.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing with it now, right? Where we're kind of saying like, oh, we detected that you have all these things in your artifact image repo. Do you have provenance for all these things? And the answer is usually no.
Yeah.
Um, I think that could be also like a first step to be like, evaluate how, if you're using a particular cloud provider, like evaluate whether you should be using GUAC, because you, like, how many of these things you know about. Do we know about the runtime that people were using, that they are asking for this runtime capabilities?
What are they using currently, you mean?
Yeah, for the runtime, are they mini clouds or like
I mean, it was KubeCon. I
Kubernetes?
think they were talking about Kubernetes and containers.
Because I imagine we could run like, I don't know, maybe like you could run something on the GUAC or on the Kubernetes cluster to kind of extract this information as well, right? Maybe it could be a certifier that would like check your is deploy and be like, this is deploy is out of date because it's not matching, or there's some issue with this is deployed.
I've just been taking a look at Kubescape, which is a
Oh,
CNCF
yeah.
sandbox project.
Yeah.
Do we have any experience with that in our team here?
I've seen it and I've looked at it before. I think they were looking to go through the CNCF process. So I've looked at it. It's kind of like an auditing tool.
It says that it generates SBOMs and VEX documents based on what's going on in your cluster. So I thought that might be an interesting collector to figure out. Maybe that has some kind of runtime information too. I don't know.
Should we get a presentation from Cubescape folks as well? I can reach out to. I forgot who I was talking to. Jeff, did you speak to anyone from Cubescape at the IQCon?
Nope.
Okay. Let me reach out and then maybe ask for demo presentation.
I'll make a note in the issue. Let's be like, hey, could Qscape be used here? Keep track of it.
Yeah, sounds good. Cool. Anything else, Jeff, Ben, behind? Well, I think the follow-up question after every KubeCon is like the RFC for CFP for KubeCon. The next KubeCon is always due in like 2-3 weeks.
Oh man, hard to come up with topics every time.
I thought you're supposed to have like a lot of inspiration from like the before KubeCon. That's the idea, right?
Maybe this runtime stuff.
Yeah,
could be a good
yeah.
topic actually.
That's
Runtime or a Wex hub integration or air gapped, and all that kind of stuff. Actually, could be good. Good talks. The problem is like, especially for KubeCon, it has to be related in some way to Kubernetes. So I think a runtime would probably be better than everything else. I don't think the other ones will get selected.
I do like I think the runtime definitely resounds.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
Yeah, and I think it can be a quick one given like I think Jeff pointing at Cubescape. I think that's that could be easy win.
Yeah.
That was my interest, is conference-driven development. Yeah, I think the other thing is like it looks like the SBOM is, it's based on a container scan. So I thought a good idea might be like comparing a build SBOM to a container scan SBOM and having GUAC kind of connect the dots between the two to show where they overlap and where they don't. But just an integration overview of like, how do we pull these in automatically when they're generated, as well as the VEX documents that they're creating. That'd be cool.
I think also just to say like, here's you have a container running, you didn't have an S1 for it, or you
Sure.
or you don't have any provenance for it, right?
Yeah, you don't have a build one. It's running. It's like, where did it come from? Yeah, that'd be good actually. I mean, I could just kind of helps you with the is deployed piece also. Like, you just be like, yeah, based on, because I have a runtime SBOM, I know it's running. And then you just keep, and then maybe it generates it every day or something, and then gives you a daily report of like, yeah, it's still running or not. Which is good enough, I think. It doesn't have to be like a real time. Yeah, is it running or not? I think a daily report is good enough. So that could be something worthwhile looking at.
Yeah, I think the person I talked to was Ben from last time from Cubescape. Let me reach out to him.
Wasn't there another one? Cube Clarity?
Yeah, there was a Cube audit also. I think it was like one of them was part of the Kubernetes project.
I don't know, it was Open Clarity, and they had a thing called like VM Clarity or Cube Clarity. What's that something?
So Shopify had it's archived from now. It was archived a month ago. It's called
Cube Clarity?
Audit. No, Cube Audit. That's a different one.
Oh, okay. Open Clarity. Have you heard of that one? Could probably get some inspirations from here. I think this is a Cisco project. But I know that they had it mapped to, Kubernetes running directly and figuring out if there was any vulnerabilities or whatever else associated with it, all that kind of stuff at the cluster level. So we could figure out how their, kind of integrations that they did.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure they used Cube Clarity, which is this other tool but it is archived.
I'm looking at the list of things that they use as configurations.
Yeah, so here's Cube Clarity. It does say it scans both the runtime Kubernetes clusters and CI/CD pipelines.
I feel like Kube Clarity, Kube Audit, and CubeScape got in a meeting and then they decided to, because they were archived around the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh no! This one is Kube Clarity has been deprecated and succeeded by Open Clarity. Okay, so maybe this one is just an evolution of the previous one.
Yeah. Looks like it runs on the cluster itself, so it's maybe CubeScape is good enough in this case because it's kind of like, yeah, it's gonna scan the image, all that kind of stuff. It looks like CubeScape kind of does that for you too.
I'm kind of curious how much permissions CubeScape needs. I'm guessing admin to exec into it and use the file system. Oh, they do image patching. Interesting. Okay, container image scanning is powered by Gripe. Oh no, they need to install a cluster as well. Yeah, the CubeScape needs to be on. It's a Helm chart.
Yeah. Same as Open Clarity then.
Yeah. It does look like CubeScape is a little bit more modular though, so maybe easier to plug in. Okay. Are we done with the runtime topic for now?
Yeah, for now.
Okay. By the way, I think the KubeCon CFPs is due the weekend of Thanksgiving. I think it's a Monday of the Sunday or Monday of, but
For KubeCon EU?
yeah, I put that on my calendar. Oh, is it KubeCon EU?
When's the final deadline? Let's go by that.
Let's see, Euro 2025. Oh wait, CFE closes Sunday, 24th November.
Wait, what?
It's this week.
Oh, it's
Are you
this
serious?
week, not.
No,
Wait, am I looking at the right
Yes.
thing?
yeah, it's this week. Sunday 24th is this Sunday.
Wow. Yeah, that's Sunday. Wow, that's really close.
Can't give us a break. I showed it. No, this is very close. I feel like I've never seen one that's like that. Should we send it first and then withdraw if we, if we don't get anything out of it? Let me make sure I get Ben. I'll reach out to Ben today, and then if we can get something on the calendar within the next few days, we should do that.
Mhm.
Another option is, given the 3 keynotes that happen, we could do a panel. That's all. I think that could be interesting.
Is it worth doing like a intro to GUAC also again? Like, no, who was it? I think you and Mike and Mihai did that original one in
I think
Detroit.
Mihai and Mike did that.
The original one in Detroit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was with GraphQL, so it changed a lot since then. I think.
That's what I'm
especially
saying. So
now
is it worthwhile doing another one? Maybe like a simple one that just like, hey, it's well, isn't cloud native or cloud native security going to be part of KubeCon now too? Not this one.
I think
Next
it's going to be a day zero event, I think. So they're combining cloud native security and like Sauce Fusion or something. So basically trying to combine all the security stuff into a one day.
Oh, are they not doing the separate con anymore?
Because it didn't
No,
work.
I don't think. Yeah.
Nobody went to it. So
So there is
they
a
did
security
literally.
track, but I mean, it's like saying cloud native. I mean, it's cloud native security, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know that GUAC has a good chance of getting accepted if it's just a general overview.
How did it get accepted last time for Detroit? Like, how did you guys phrase it?
well, for Detroit, we were just launching it.
It was very hype.
Still.
Yeah.
It's
But
very
now
hyped.
it's very hype now. So you know.
I think we can always say like with the new redesign and splitting it into 3 components and back to basics, showcasing it to everyone. I think we can write something on that.
And you can scan containers.
If need be, we can also mention a little bit of AI at the end.
There you go.
Sure.
So it didn't get accepted this time, so I'm not sure if it's gonna get accepted next time either.
I do think we have like the hype train to go on. So if anything, I think now's the time. Well, I think if people see something in the keynote, they wanna
Learn more about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of people are like, oh, what is GUAC? Right. So it might be worthwhile just to like, hey, here's an introduction to GUAC.
I also like that. Like I think to make it stronger also, like if we could have a user come talk about it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or call it like using GUAC to secure your cloud native environment or your cloud native supply chain or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, one of the things we can include in there is the Kubernetes admission controller part that you had written and demoed on that CNCF Live a while back.
That's true. I forgot we never did a talk on that. Oh wait, no, we did. KubeCon EU, we did a talk on GUAC and OPA actually. But yeah, and combine everything all together. Like here's a beginner one, and then here's
Yep.
how you tie to Kubernetes.
I think they're like having the user having a user be that is also like huge.
About which shadow organization are you going to talk to?
I mean, you could do Guidewire also. I feel like that they seem to be
Yeah, I mean, I knew we'll be up for it. So he
Yeah.
was there. He was there. So if we want to, you can always ping him, and I'm sure he'll be up for it. Like, I'm not sure if I don't know if he would travel for it or whatever, but I think he would be. Because he's like, oh yeah, we try to submit talks. So it's like he might be up for it.
I think like to me in my mind, it's like you already have like a good relationship. Guidewire understands and uses the project. The other one I can think of is like getting Tortilla rid one. Yeah.
So I posted the link to the FileStem security dev room, which is calling for supply chain security, trust and verifiability talks. So that might be a general GUAC talk.
I can't. Oh, can I do this one? I may have to be in Australia at this time.
Yeah, and that one would be more like the details of all the salsa and other attestation integrations that we do.
Okay, deadline for this is 1st December. Okay, I'm gonna create a conference track that now meeting notes. Should we get together maybe Friday to have another brainstorming / writing session for KubeCon since it's due
Yeah,
basically end of the week?
I'm
Yeah, I mean, I was
ahead.
planning on submitting the Cubescape one regardless if we get a co-presenter, but I think a co-presenter like this looks like they have Ben, or there's a dev advocate that what is her name, that speaks from Armo. So yeah, even if it's not runtime, but if it's just integration with SBOMs and VEX and Kubernetes clusters, I think that's something that is at least more targeted, like more targeted towards CNCF projects.
Let me just put some time on in case we need it.
After 2 is fine for me.
After
I can't
2.
say super late though. I might have to leave at 3 or so.
I shouldn't. I have PT at 2.
We can do it earlier, 11.
11 works for me. Yeah.
Yeah, because GUAC time's gonna get canceled anyways, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I can just brainstorm some topics and then submit.
I'm just gonna add everyone that's on this call plus Mike.
Mike's gonna be at the Linux member summit stuff. I don't think he's gonna attend.
Okay, all right. What about him then?
Plus, I think after that he's going on vacation to like Mexico City or something. So
Oh, fun. All right, I invite Santiago as well in case he has some ideas. Cool. We have about 10 minutes. Any issues that people want to highlight that need fixing?
I
yeah,
just want to.
go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to bring up real quick. I know we had talked in the last office hours, and I put it in Slack, I think. But I just wanted to make sure everyone's cool with canceling the office hours as an ongoing thing. Cool. Then I will merge that and request the removal from the calendar.
I had a quick question. I saw you added one more test to skip. What's our policy? Like, it's okay for
I
us
don't know
to
why.
update the branch for people if we do a rebase, right? Like update
We
with
can.
rebase. Like, does the update the rebase? It works, right?
Well, I don't know. Actually, it might break the
I think
sign.
it removes the DCO.
Or remove the DCO? Oh no.
Because I tried it once for I think one of parts PRs, and it broke DCO, and we had to rebase everything to redo it from scratch.
Okay, I think there's a bunch of them that need to be rebased because of the testing.
Yeah,
I guess we just
mostly
ask them to
those.
rebase, probably it's safer.
Don't know why the end-to-end is failing now.
There was once where the depth of depth stuff was failing also. I don't know why.
I don't know if it's like flaky. It's just flakiness of some of the services sometimes. Clear to find. It's like it works locally for me without an issue, and then you do it on the test and it fails every single time. Like I don't know what's happening. The server will respond, all that kind of stuff. So maybe we just it might be worthwhile just mocking all those things out for the tests. I think that might be the path we take for that, and not actually hit the actual service.
Yeah. Robert has some really good mocking code. You probably can use.
What does?
Robert. He wrote some really good mocking code.
Oh yeah.
Um.
Oh, there was the issue for the clearly defined where we were missing the Golang packages, Jeff. Did you chat with them at all about that?
Oh yeah. I thought we were doing the conversion wrong now.
Well, the what do you call that? The example or the documentation said two different things, right? It said like name
right.
in one of the things and a namespace in the other one.
Did we figure out which one was right, or we just want to ask?
It also wasn't returning properly. It still wasn't returning. Like even if I tried it, it won't return information back about it. And yeah, like I tried.
Okay, well, I can take a look at it. They have a weekly meeting on Wednesday morning, so I can also wait till then. But I'll
Okay. Yeah, that's why that PR is sitting in draft. It's like I wasn't sure.
Okay.
And it wasn't returning either properly. Like it didn't give me any information back, even if I put the hyphen in there. It's like
I mean, it might be that it's unharvested. I think the harvest queues are kind of long, but I'm not sure. I'll have to see what it's returning.
All right, I do have to drop here real quick.
Okay.
Talk to you guys later. Thanks.
All right. We'll see you on Friday.
Thursday we have the community call.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, let's spend 5 minutes to chat about that. I think we already have a few topics, right? I think we have one which is like talking about the new refactor plans. Thanks for the call out, by the way, Ben.
Yep.
Community meeting notes.
I figured we'd go over KubeCon
Yeah,
quickly.
good call. I can do. I think we had a few features that were implemented by contributors that we should highlight. I think the registry collector may be a good one to highlight. It's not merged yet, but I think it's a good functionality. The one from Lucas also, I think may be good to highlight. Awesome. I think given that we've been getting a lot of new contributors, so maybe we can, after KubeCon submissions are over, we can take a look through and see whether we can reevaluate and see whether we can move folks up the ladder. So
Yeah.
let me put that into meeting notes. Okay, cool. Anything else? We are at time. Any 10-second hot takes? No. All right. See you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.